All right, welcome everyone. Glad you're here with us today. We're going to be talking about getting started with Mylio Photos. And if you're new to Mylio Photos, this is the perfect place to start. If you've used it for a little bit but want to learn a little bit more, this is also a great webinar for you. My name is Lori Rubin, and I'm one of the product evangelists at Mylio. Love photography. I've been in the photo industry for many, many years in the education and marketing departments. So this is my passion. I love being able to teach people and also to be able to show you how to improve your images and how to organize them. We also have with us today, we've got Matthew, and Matthew is one of our tech support reps. He is very well versed in Mylio Photos. Matthew, say hi to everybody.
Hello.
We're glad to have Matthew with us today. He will be answering some questions in the background. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and pop them into the Q&A box there, and he'll be able to answer those for you. We're going to go over what is Mylio Photos. We're going to actually add some photos from a sample library, which is a great place to start out when you're first installing Mylio Photos. We'll talk about adding some of your own images, also how to add devices. We'll be exploring some views. In fact, I'm going to give you a sneak peek at the new release that's coming up. I don't have the exact date, but it's super soon. We're very excited about it. So we'll take a look at some views and some new views. Also, at the very end, I'll talk to you about how to create a Mylio account so you can see how easy it is to install and set up. And at the very end, we'll talk about resources. So you can always find lots of videos and tutorials. We've got a great manual. We've got a wonderful tech support department that can help you if you have any problems. Okay, let's start out by talking about what is Mylio Photos. Well, this is a program that actually helps you manage all of your memories by taking your photos and videos from any source, for instance, from your hard drives, maybe from your phones, social media memory cards, etc. Helps you. You can bring it into a single library, and then it can be accessible on all of your devices, such as your computers, cell phones, and your tablets. There's many ways of searching for different images. In fact, we've got a new way to search. I'll be showing you that today. So that'll be a lot of fun. This is an example of some ways that you can actually view your images. For instance, on your computers, we do support both Mac OS and Windows devices. We have phones that we support and also tablets. And you can grab your images from hard drives, from memory cards, digital cameras, social media, if you have a NAS, which is a network storage device. And also if you have some, let's say, prints that you want to scan in, scan those prints in, and then you can get them organized within Mylio Photos. All right, we're going to be talking about how to add photos. So I will be showing you a sample library. We'll explore some views and how to add devices here. And we'll start out by doing that. So I'm going to go back here. We're going to jump over to Mylio Photos and take a look at this program. Now, if you've been using Mylio Photos, you'll notice that this looks a little bit different. Our views are on the left side instead of along the top. We've got an extra account button up here. So you'll see a few differences. If you've never used Mylio Photos, don't worry about it. You're starting out fresh. This is what it's going to look like pretty soon here. So let's go ahead and we're going to add some sample images. I always recommend that when you're first starting out with Mylio Photos that you add some sample images, and that way you can kind of play around with Mylio Photos and just have some fun. So we're going to go up to this little help icon, little question mark there. Click on that. Here's our help box with many different links. We'll go over that at the end of the presentation, but for right now, we're just going to add a sample library. You can see that right here. Simply click on that link, and then Mylio Photos is going to start importing a bunch of photos for you. We're going to see that here. They're going to start to come across. And the nice thing about this sample library is that there's all kinds of different photos from wildlife and people, food, all kinds of different genres of photography. So you can kind of play around with that. There's different people, so you can play around with face tagging, which we'll do in just a moment. Also different dates. So we can look at the life calendar, which is a lot of fun. And so anyway, I do recommend importing this particular sample library just to start. And once you feel comfortable, you can start adding your own images and you can just delete this. This is simply going up to the help menu again, and you can remove your sample library. You can see how quick it was. So at any time you can re-add it again. It's there for you. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to start on the left side of the screen. We're going to look at the different views here. In fact, before I do that, let's just go ahead and add some of our own images. I'm just going to go ahead and click on this little plus button. And you have different options here. You can add media accessible from this device. So if you have some hard drives or maybe a memory card attached, you can add it from here. If you have some media from an online service such as Instagram, Facebook, Frame.io, Google Photos Library, Flickr. You can also add media from photos if you have a Mac, from iPhoto or Aperture. In this case, I've got a hard drive and I want to install some of my pet photos. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this link here. You can see it pulled up one of my drives. This is my favorite pets. I'll go ahead and click to activate this particular folder there. I'll click on open. And then I have the option to link them, which means it leaves the files where they are, but it will show up in Mylio Photos. You can also copy them and it'll put it into Mylio Photos folder. And you can move them, which means it will take it off of your hard drive or let's say your memory card, and I'll move them over. But for right now, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just link them. We'll leave them where they are. So I'll go ahead and click on link now. Just take a moment or so and you'll start seeing some pet photos appear in here. And as it's doing that, what we're going to do is go again on the left side of the screen here. And the first one is all photos. And this is a view that we've been looking at. You can actually grab this little tab here and slide it around and you can see the dates change. So it's one way to quickly go through and find a particular image. I find this kind of like looking through your folders, trying to find things, and it's really difficult to try to locate something. So I don't really use that much. What I really like doing is using some of these other tools here. So we'll start with the life calendar. This is really fantastic. This life calendar allows you to see your life in photos. So any photo that has a date attached to it will be put into this life calendar. So for instance, we're looking at, let's say 2012. I'm going to go ahead and double click to open this particular year. Here's the months that are showing up here. And what we'll do is let's just go ahead and we'll take a look at April, what happened in April. So I'll double click on April. Here's the month of April at that year. And then we can drill even deeper if we want to see some more images. Let's say on the 19th, we're looking at some underwater images from a trip. So that's a great way to just kind of go through and see your images through the years. If you have children, it's fun to watch them grow up over the years, or maybe there's certain events. All right, another thing we can do here is we can go all the way to the top. You'll see some older photos here, by the way. These are scanned images that have been placed in here. In the upper left-hand corner, it houses any of your undated images. So right now we've got 16 undated images. I'm going to go ahead and double click on here. These are actually scans that don't have any dates attached to it. So let's go ahead. We'll click on this image here. I have a little girl on a sled. I'll just open it up a little bit wider. Over here on the right-hand side, you can see the double arrows. And this is where you can expand to actually see info, which is all of your metadata. And since it's a scan, we don't know what camera it was taken on. We do know the size, but we can change a lot of this stuff. For instance, the title, we can add a title. We can change and add keywords or the file name, for instance. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this date created. We see that it is undated, and that's why it's in that undated folder. I can go ahead and click on these triple dots. This will change the format if I want to change it by a different type of format. Right now, I'm just going to leave it at month and year. We'll go ahead and choose April. And we're going to scroll down here. I don't know, let's just say it's 1987. We're going to date this April 1987. And then we'll click on Save. Now, if we go back to our calendar view, go to 1987. There she is. Okay, so that's how you would go ahead and date your images so that they would show up in the life calendar. It's actually a lot of fun to do that. Okay, next one down, we're going to go ahead and take a look at. This is the map. Fantastic way of seeing where you've been. So for instance, here's quite a few different images around the United States. This is worldwide, so you can take a look and see it maybe up in the European countries or in Africa, for instance. So we'll go ahead and we're going to drill into some of these thumbnails and take a look at how this works. So right now, we've got about 80 pictures. You can see that right here on this thumbnail up in the Seattle area. If I go ahead and just click on that, all the images that were taken in that particular location show up right here, which is great. Now over to the right, there's info. There's also a map. This is a mini map, so you can see that there. Let's say that, I'm going to pick a photo here. Let's say JC and his daughter. This picture was actually taken, let's say, in a different location. So I can either click and drag it onto the map, or I find it a little bit easier just to type in location. So I'm going to type in San Diego. Okay, and then it should pop up with San Diego here. Yep, San Diego, California. There we go. And now I can just click and drag it to a location here and move it around. And then I can just go and click on that little checkbox. And now that is in that location. The other thing that's really neat about this little map here is that we've got different ways of viewing it on a map, for instance. So here it's showing the exact location, but I can click on this location or photo explorer to show it on a map or explore the location on the web. If I explore the location on a map, you can see that this pulls up. I think I have it on Google Maps. There's several different options that you can choose from, but you can actually go in and take a look at that, which is really fun. So if you forget where you were, for instance, you can go ahead and just look at that map location. Okay, we're going to go ahead and jump into the people view. This is a really fun way to actually tag people. If we're trying to organize our images, people is probably one of the biggest type of photos that we might have, and trying to search for a particular person might be a little cumbersome. But what we can do is we can actually tag these photos. By the way, that's my pet photos came across. I'll show you those in just a moment. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take a look at people. Now, I want to show you one way you can do this. Under your dashboard, which is now over on the left-hand side, if I click on here and I click on actions, this particular palette is really helpful because it allows me to do quite a few common things like adding media that we did. Maybe you want to find some duplicate photos. Mylio Photos can help you do that. If you want to add a device or tag faces, for instance. So I'm just going to click on tag faces. And what this did was Mylio Photos actually pulled up some similar faces that it thinks might be the same person. This is batch tagging. As you can see, there's a little question box underneath each of these little images. So let's suppose, not too sure who this is, but I'm going to click on this little question box and I'm going to call her Ruth. And I'll go ahead and press the return key and a new person dialog box comes up. Here's the first name, and if you choose to, you can put the last name, and I'll go ahead and click on create. Now the rest of these are probably Colleen. So up at the top where it says, who is this? I can go ahead and click on that. Little text box, I'll start typing Colleen. There you go. Now she's been tagged before, so it easily comes up. This is Michael. I'll just start typing M, for instance, Michael comes up, and you can see how easy it is to go through all of these untagged images. Very quick and easy way to figure out who's who. All right, so what I'm going to do here, let's go ahead and I'm going to go back to, sorry, got it here. All right, so we'll go into info. Just want to show you, if I go into info for a moment, I'm going to pull up this picture of these two people here. This is looking for faces as well. And this particular icon, which is face tagging, has been highlighted. And so Mylio Photos recognize faces. And this happens to be, trying to remember her name, it's Carol. Okay, so this is Carol. And then it jumps over to the next one, and this is Michael. And you can see Mylio Photos becomes more and more intelligent as you start tagging more and more people. You can use keyboard shortcuts. One on your keyboard, for instance, to tag Michael, or you can just click on Michael. So there you go. Very, very easy to use, really fun way to organize your people view. Okay, next one we're going to take a look at. Let's jump to folders for a moment. Okay, this is my folders here. This is the sample library. If I double click to expand it, you can see that there's 4 folders here. Something that's really wonderful about this new version of Mylio Photos is that you've got a folder tree now. So over on the left-hand side, you can expand this out. And so if you're really familiar with using Explorer, let's say, or any of those other type programs where you can actually see folder trees, this is another way to view your images. So you can either, double click, let's say, to expand to see all your scan images, or, you can expand on the trips and jump to a particular trip that you took, let's say to Fiji, for instance. So a really nice way to find your images quickly and easily using this folder tree. Now, I had installed my favorite pets. They came across here. So that's another folder that I have as well. So just keep in mind that the folders here replicate what's on your hard drive, for instance. So you can move things around, you can rename things, and it will update on all of your devices. Next thing, let's talk about albums. Albums are a little bit different from folders. They actually can help you organize your images. So another way to get organized is to create albums, which are virtual libraries, similar to your virtual playlist that you would have for music. You can have this for your photos. Let's take a look at the landscape. This is a virtual photo. It's already been set up with a sample image library. There's 24 images in here. I can go ahead and double click to expand that out. And there's my landscapes. I can go back, for instance, and check out birds. Now, in this case, in the upper left-hand corner, it's telling me there's 59 images. There's 3 sub-albums. Double click to open it. You can see that these are the 3 sub-albums by the type of bird. And then we have some that are unlisted. They're not put into any particular album. Let's go ahead and create a new album. So let's go ahead and double click to expand this out. And I'm just going to click on a couple hummingbirds here. One way we can do this is to go ahead and right click to open up this actions palette, or let's say you're on a tablet or on a smartphone, for instance. An easy way to expand that out is in the lower right hand corner. It looks like a kind of a page with 3 lines on it. Just click on actions and that'll pop up the same actions palette. What we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and right click so it's up on the screen here. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually move this or create a new album. Now, I can either click on new album or I can click on add to album. Let's do this. Click to add to album, and we're going to create a brand new album. We're going to call this Hummingbirds and choose create. And now we're going to go ahead and click on continue. And it should be in there. So let's just we'll double check ourselves. Yep. See that? There's a new album called Hummingbirds. So again, this is a great way to organize your images. It's not duplicating files, so it's not adding to the, let's say, the disk file sizes or anything. It's just pointing to that particular image, but a really great way to get organized here. This sample library above here does show you some examples, for instance, by the type of photography, that's landscapes, by the type of animal, for instance. Here's a folder just of edited images or needing to be edited, for instance. And then here is some wildlife, just all of them put into one album. Okay, we did talk a little bit about the dashboard, so I think we're good with that. A nice, easy way to get to devices and such. Now, if you wanted to add a device, let's go ahead and talk about that for a moment. Let's go ahead and click on this add device icon. And you'll see that there's different options here. You can add an external drive. We can add a cloud service, for instance. So if you have Google Drive, OneDrive, or an S3 compatible storage device, you can add it from there. If you have a NAS device, a phone or tablet that you want to add, or a computer. So let's just go ahead and choose external drive. I've got one external drive that is not currently hooked up. I would just click on that and choose next if I wanted to add it. Okay, and I'll just show you what I've got set up here. I've got my Mac that I'm working on right now. I have an iPhone that's connected, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on Mylio Photos here, and you'll see that'll be activated in just a few minutes. And then I also have a couple drives. And you'll notice that it says Vault on 2 of these. 2 of these drives hold my original images, so these are my backups. It's always good to have a 3 backup plan, 3 different types of devices, 1 off-site. And this is a crucial drive that I have some images that I'm kind of bringing on over. So you can see how that worked. Now iPhone just popped in, it's highlighted and everything is synced because you see that little checkbox just assures you that all these devices have been synced. I'm going to click on this little question box. If you have any questions about what the little icons mean, you can just click on that. You can see what's happening there. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to dive into something new here. Excited to show you. Okay, so let's go ahead and up at the upper left-hand corner, you can choose open sidebar. This is all new, except for some of these were, I think, a little bit hidden, and now there's right up front so you can find things, which is really great. But we're just going to start with the smart tags. These are AI activated tags. So if you wanted to look and search for certain things, like let's say animals, birds, I'm going to go ahead and click on birds. But actually, let's go ahead and just show all of these images here. Go to the top first. Let's go ahead and show all. Okay, so you can see everything. All right, so we're going to go into birds. I can click on that and it'll show me my bird images, but you can also expand this section here, and it has different types of birds, which is really cool. So for instance, if I want to look at bald eagles, for instance, there you go. Really quick too, by the way. It's great. You can also add, if you want to add certain smart filters here as well. So let's go back. We're going to go up to bird. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin this. See that little tack there? That pins it up at the top for the filters. And I'm going to look for something else. Let's say birds by the ocean, for instance. I'm going to scroll through here. Here's water. And then I'm going to click and tag ocean. So now here's birds at the ocean. So just let your imagination flow because you're going to be able to find images super quickly by different tags, for instance, and you can even type in for a particular filter that you're looking for. But this is a great way to find images. I'm totally excited about this. I tend to shoot a lot of wildlife, so it's going to really help me to organize my bird images or different, type of wildlife that I shoot. I'm really excited. All right, I'm going to go ahead, and those are the smart tags. Now, I wanted to show you too, down below here, you can also search by folder. So again, this is the folder tree that you can search by if you wanted to look at something in a particular year or however you actually organized your images, but that's a nice way to find images. You can find by date, for instance, date ranges, or by custom, by event, by file type, for instance. Let's just go ahead and click on this. Let's say it's a photo, but I'm going to look at all my raw images. So I'll go ahead and click on raw. And because I have bird and ocean already tagged up there, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those. So these are all my raw images. Okay. So that's a great feature there. All right. Next down below, we can choose by album, for instance. Again, that's how we did our virtual album. Remember how we did that? So we can search by that, by category, by person. So when we were tagging people, they're being put into these little buckets. So for instance, Carol, if I want to see all pictures of Carol, I could just click there. There she is. Okay. And next, you can also choose by rating and labels. So if I wanted to find, let's see, I'm going to get rid of this. And I just want to see all of my 5-star images. I would click on this. And then you can go through and kind of narrow that down. You can label your images, and you can also pick and reject your images as well. One thing I really enjoy doing too is if I go on a particular trip, I tend to remember what camera I took with me. So if I wanted to, look up a particular camera type and even expand this out, you can see what images were taken with the Nikon D300, for instance, or the type of lens even. So you can really drill down and get real specific here as well. And then you can also do custom too. So you can enter words to filter by. So I just wanted to give you a quick look at the new smart tags. And there's also quick filters here as well. We're going to be doing really deep dives into this on future webinars coming up. So please join us for those. You can learn more about these exciting new features. Okay, I'm going to go back to my keynote here. We talked about all of these sections here. See if there's anything else I'm missing. We talked about photos, calendar maps, and everything. Okay, so I think we pretty much went over everything I wanted to show you, but I do want to end by showing you how to download your Mylio Photos. If you have not installed Mylio Photos yet, this is how you would go about doing it. Got a few slides here that we'll go through and show you how to do that. So the very first one, go ahead and expand this out, is you're going to download Mylio Photos by going to mylio.com and clicking on the Get Mylio Photos Now blue button. And then what that'll do is that'll take you to a screen where you can enter your email. And then once you enter your email, click on Create My Account. And then it's going to send you a login link. This is new for us, I think as of March 16th. After March 16th, anybody who downloaded a new version of Mylio Photos would be getting a login link. So it just kind of verifies who you are through your email rather than asking for passwords. Okay, in your email, you would check for a Mylio notification email that comes through, and then you would just click here to log in. And then once you do that, it'll take you to a screen where you can download your Mylio Photos, or you can purchase it. You do have a 30-day money-back guarantee, by the way. Next slide here is you can download it for Mac or for Windows. Mylio Photos automatically detects what operating system you're on. In this case, I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to download my mylio.dmg file, and you'll find that in your downloads folder. You just double click to open it, and then you would just click and drag Mylio into your applications folder. Now, for those of you who use Windows, you would be looking for a Mylio _ .msix file, and that would be in your downloads folder under Windows Explorer. And then from there, just want to make sure that you allow Mylio Photos to make any changes by clicking yes to install, select launch to open up Mylio Photos. Once that's done, you're actually in the application and you're going to, click on Let's Go. This will take you to a screen where you can enter your email address one more time. This is just to verify it is truly you. Click Continue. Go to your email, look for the latest email from Mylio Photos, and then click here to log in, right there, that blue button. Once you're in there, you can launch Mylio Photos, and then it'll complete the Mylio Photos setup, which takes just some mere seconds, and then you're in Mylio Photos. When you first go in, you'll see these little tooltips that'll pop across on some of the most used type icons here to help you understand what's what. So you might want to read those, and then just to kind of help you understand what these do. Okay, now I'm going to show you some educational resources so that you can find some really good help here. All of these on the screen are actually in the Mylio Photos application, so I'm going to show you that. We're just going to jump over to Mylio Photos. Once you're in the application, again, that little help icon, just click on that, and you'll get information here that you can click on. So if you want to learn more about Mylio Photos, there's a really great how-to guide. I'll click on that to open it for you. This is a really intensive manual that goes from start to finish. It's got keyboard shortcuts. It shows you the interface. It'll show you anything you want to know about Mylio Photos. In fact, there's a little search button up here. I like to go here and maybe look for, certain, see if we can find ratings that pops up. But you can go ahead and look, see that it pops up for rating images, for instance, so you can find more information about that. Nice screenshots, really easy to see. Okay, and then let's go back. A couple more things here. There's a community that you can join. I'm in here quite a bit. If you want to, you can join or you can just explore. I'd encourage you to join so that you can actually see more information. We post, things like the next version of Mylio Photos, which I'm currently working on. So you might want to take a look at that. And there's also events. So if you click on events, you'll see that we're live here on this Getting Started webinar. And you'll see what's coming up. We're always adding more and guest webinars as well. If you're interested in a more casual type interaction, there's coffee breaks. This one here, I'd really recommend. That's going to be next Tuesday. What's new in Mylio Photos? Andrew will be demonstrating that, and she'll go through some of the new features, some of the which we went through today, but she'll go more in depth. And she'll also talk about quick filters and using smart tags. So that's going to be real exciting. And so that's great there. And of course, the Getting webinars, you can always join us again for any time. Great. And I do want to show one last thing. We do have a contacting Mylio support. If you need to contact our tech support, there's a form that you would fill out and then they'd be able to help you. But there's also FAQs, some troubleshooting options here that you can take a look at. So do check out the help options here so that you can get more information about your program. Okay, well, thank you again for joining us today. Mike and Matthew, thanks for joining us as well. We hope to see you again at either another Getting Started or a coffee break webinar. Thanks again. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.